Politics is already heated. And I don't know if you guys have been watching what is going on with this Russian money and right wing influencers. Okay, so this is a press release that's coming out of the Department of Justice. It says two RT employees indicted for covertly funding and directing U.S. companies that publish thousands of videos in furtherance of Russian interests. I am going to read the press release. Employees of Russian state-controlled media outlet deployed nearly $10 million to publish RT curated content, which garnered millions of views through Tennessee-based online content creation company. All right, y'all. I'm gonna be honest. I have tried to read these people's names, and I am fumbling over these words. So I'm gonna call them by what they are known as. Just keep that in mind as I'm reading this. It says an indictment charging Russian nationals Kostya and Elena with conspiracy to violate the Foreign Agents Registration Act, or FARA, and conspiracy to commit money laundering was unsealed today in the Southern District of New York, and they are at large. The Justice Department has charged two employees of RT, a Russian state-controlled media outlet, in a $10 million scheme to create and distribute content to U.S. audiences with hidden Russian government messaging, says Attorney General Merrick Garland. The Justice Department will not tolerate attempts by an authoritarian regime to exploit our country's free exchange of ideas in order to covertly further its own propaganda efforts, and our investigation into this matter remains ongoing. Our approach to combating foreign malign influence is actor-driven, exposing the hidden hand of adversaries pulling strings of influence from behind the curtain, said Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco. As alleged in today's indictment, Russia's state broadcaster, RT, and its employees, including the charged defendants, co-opted online commentators by funneling them nearly $10 million to pump pro-Russia propaganda and disinformation across social media to U.S. audiences. The department will not tolerate foreign efforts to illegally manipulate American public opinion by sowing discord and division. Covert attempts to sow division and trick Americans into unwittingly consuming foreign propaganda represents attacks on our democracy, said FBI Director Christopher Wray. Today's actions show that as long as foreign adversaries like Russia keep engaging in hostile influence campaigns, they are going to keep running into the FBI. We will continue to do everything we can to expose the hidden hand of foreign adversaries like Russia and disrupt their efforts to meddle in our free and open society. One of the content creators that's alleged to be pushing out pro-Russia propaganda is Tim Pool, the man with the beanie that is always pushing right-wing propaganda. So this person named Nobody, he says Tim Pool made a statement where he tried to show us how he's totally not a Russian agent by criticizing Russia. Then Putin made the call and it was deleted. So here's the statement from Tim Pool. My statement regarding allegations in the leaked DOJ indictment. Should these allegations prove true, I, as well as other personalities and commentators, were deceived and are victims. I cannot speak for anyone else at the company as to what they do or what they are instructed. The Culture War podcast was licensed by Tenet Media. It existed well before any license agreement with the Tenet and will continue to exist after any such agreement expires. The only charge with the agreement was that the location of the live broadcast moved to Tenet's YouTube channel. Never at any point did anyone other than I have full editorial control of the show, and the contents of the show are often apolitical. LOL, yeah, right. And examples includes discussing spirituality, dating, and video games. He said, should these allegations prove true, we were duped. He also said, that being said, we still do not know what is true as these are only allegations. Putin is a scumbag. Russia sucks donkey balls. LOL, that's funny. And the journalists who wish to jump the gun, create their own narrative, or lie about what's going on, you can eat my Irish patootie. So that's what he said. But then he deleted the video. He deleted the tweet.
But I don't know that it matters anymore. This is psychotic. Ukraine is the enemy of this country. Ukraine is our enemy, being funded by the Democrats. I will stress this again. One of the greatest enemies of our nation right now is Ukraine. They are expanding this war. Now, don't get me wrong. I know you've got criminal elements of the U.S. government pushing them and guiding them and telling them what to do. Ukraine is now accused, a German warrant issued for blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline, triggering this conflict. Ukraine is the greatest threat to this nation and to the world. We should rescind all funding and financing, pull out all military support, and we should apologize to Russia. Know it.
So this content creator called Right Wing Cope says, Tim Pool thinks that the DOJ will be tricked by putting a Ukraine emoji in his bio after he got caught begging Russia for $100,000 per episode to push Kremlin propaganda. So supposedly these right-wingers got a $100,000 bonus and $100,000 each week for pushing this pro-Russia, anti-Ukraine commentary. But that flag, that's going to change their minds. The DOJ won't come after them probably. Angelica Reed says he really is a genius, and that I agree. Now, yesterday I was on the treadmill and I was watching Fox, or some clips of Fox News, and they are really, really trying to downplay this, like the Democrats are just pushing this narrative. I'm going to play a video, but I'll put it at the end just in case you don't really feel like hearing the Fox News people talking. So this is actually an article from Fox News. It says, Republicans skeptical of Department of Justice move to block Russian election interference. The Department of Justice announced new efforts to crack down on Russian election interference on Wednesday, but Republicans say they are skeptical of the new moves so close to the November election. We've seen this before. In 2016, the same people pushed the Russia hoax, and now we know it was totally bogus, totally. Now, it may be true this time, but I am extremely skeptical. House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan, Republican from Ohio, told Fox News Digital the Department of Justice on Wednesday announced it is seizing 32 websites, it says, were linked to the Russian government and used to spread disinformation. So that was Jim Jordan. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene saying Russian interference again, says the Democrats' DOJ, of course, targeting pro-Trump influencers with the presidential election 2 months away. This is the same administration that is on the verge of giving long-range missiles to Ukraine after funding hundreds of billions of U.S. tax dollars and weapons to its war with Russia, and has stopped every pursuit of a peace deal between the Ukraine and Russia. So that is, Margarine had a really, really long tweet. I'm not going to finish it. But yeah, she is really saying, oh, this is so silly. How dare the Democrats push this? Stephen Miller, a longtime Trump advisor, wrote on Twitter, the biggest election interference in American history is the Department of Justice's weaponization of the security state, surveillance, fake intelligence, sham indictments, raids, mass censorship, importing illegal voters to target former President Trump, but he put President Trump, his aides and supporters, third world tyranny. Now, here's a clip of Fox News and this other guy. They are talking about the DOJ and Russia. Enjoy.
We've seen it for years. The media is complicit. Ken Delanian, or whatever his name is, the biggest spook on MSNBC, said that this has got the hallmarks of another Russia propaganda election interference plot. Are they really that ignorant that they think this is going to work?
That's a great question. I mean, you look at if you actually believe everything in the indictment, and I read every word of it just now, this is really small ball stuff. There's no evidence that any Russian money changed anybody's opinion. They say in the indictment that 2 of the influencers that were targeted did not know that it was Russian money. There's no evidence that, really, there was any serious amount of media coverage to influence anything measurable in terms of opinion. All that being said, I mean, the main issue here is that we have this record of the Department of Justice running Russian disinformation hoaxes twice, not once. The first time claiming that the Russians favored Trump when we now know that they favored Clinton. And then the second time, the Hunter Biden laptop, where we now know that the FBI ran a disinformation effort to make people think that it was about the Russians. So nobody should trust blindly the Department of Justice when it says anything about Russia.
So now we have the United States government interfering in 3 elections in a row, 16, 20, and 24, on behalf of Democrat candidates, weak Democrat candidates, Hillary, Biden, and Harris. What does it say about the Harris campaign that they need to do this right now?
Yeah, look, I think it's this is the best they've got, and that I think that says something, that they're having to do this. And like you said, it's all of the discredited characters with all of the discredited messages from the past.
Right.
So it's not going to, it's clearly not going to have much impact at all. It's, I think there is some reason for concern, which is it does feel like it's another effort to program people, if we're going to use the crude word, brainwash people and get them to stop thinking about these issues. And so we should always be concerned when we see situations where there may be the weaponization of the government going on in order to, in this case, because it's always projection, influence the elections.
Right.
Because the timing alone is curious.
You can't have the FBI, and this is probably CIA laundered, and the Department of Justice spilling this out through press conferences and through leaks to mainstream media reporters on the eve of election, and then you're going to have a 24-hour, maybe 48-hour news cycle on CNN, on MSNBC, and it's just going to wash over the people, even the casual viewers that are just clicking around. That does have an impact. That's more election skullduggery than what the Russians are doing.
Yeah, and I would say, too, I think it's important for people to understand why they keep focusing on Russia. It's clearly an effort to undermine the nationalist and populist appeal of Trump and the MAGA Republicans. They're trying to say that they're not authentically supported in the United States. They're not about America first. They're secretly, it's a conspiracy theory, Jesse. Right. The idea that Trump and MAGA Republicans are controlled by Russia is the craziest conspiracy theory of them all. But apparently it works with some people, or it's the best they got.
And you have Harris's number 2 literally under investigation for his ties to China. And the Biden family also under investigation for all the money that poured in from China. It's crazy.
Of course.
You got to pay attention. You got to focus. That's what we're doing here. Thank you so much, Mike Schellenberger. Check out his Substack.
Now let's take a look at this article from the Washington Post. YouTube takes down right-wing channels linked to DOJ Russian indictments. YouTube terminated Tenet Media and other channels run by Lauren Chen, a conservative influencer linked to allegations that Russia paid for right-wing content in the U.S. Google-owned video site terminated Tenet Media and 4 other channels run by right-wing media entrepreneur Laura Chen as part of the company's ongoing efforts to combat coordinated influence operations, a YouTube spokesperson said in an emailed statement on Thursday. On Wednesday, the Justice Department indicted 2 employees of the Russian government-backed media organization RT, formerly known as Russia Today, accusing them of legally funding a Tennessee-based media organization. The government has not specifically mentioned Tenet, but a quote from the media organization's YouTube channel listed in the indictment suggested it is the media organization targeted. Some right-wing influencers have subsequently identified Tenet as the company in the indictment. Tennessee business records list Lauren Chen and her husband Liam Donovan as the owners of Tenet Media. On Thursday, Chen's contributor contract with conservative media organization Blaze TV was terminated, Semaphore reported. Prosecutors allege that the founders of the media company in the indictment knew their funding was coming from Moscow and privately acknowledged in messages to each other that their backers were Russian. Tenet Media did not immediately return a request for comment sent through a contact form on its website. YouTube was the main platform for videos produced by Tenet Media and is popular with conservative media personalities, including those who had worked with Tenet, such as Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, and David Rubin. In the weeks after Russia's 2022 invasion of Ukraine, YouTube took down RT's channel, which had been globally popular on the platform. YouTube is the only major Western social media site still available inside Russia, where it remains popular. But in recent months, the Russian government has stepped up its throttling of the site, degrading quality for many users in the country. So there we have it. We got the DOJ coming for these people. You got YouTube and Google pulling the plug on these channels. I wonder what is going on and how they are doing. Are they freaking out? We don't know. But we do need to be watching what is going on as they tweet, because their Twitter fingers definitely pick up steam. So join the conversation. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.